Hello and welcome to another Steps of Sussex live chat. As always, this is live, it's a live video, so I will be trying to read and answer as many viewer questions and comments as I possibly can. I hope you've all had a really good few days and a really good Father's Day, of course, if you have been able to celebrate Father's Day, obviously with all the restrictions going on in the world right now. So yeah, I have a plethora of Sussex-based stories to talk to you about today. Wow, yes, there is another new book out. My goodness, are you losing track? Are you like me, where you literally are thinking, well, first of all, how on earth am I going to actually find the time to read all of these books? But even though there may be some you want to read and some you don't want to read about Harry and Meghan, all these biographies coming out right now. By the way, I think it's just people trying to capitalise on Harry and Meghan at the outset. But the one thing that still concerns me the most about all these different biographies is which one, if any of them, are we supposed to trust? Obviously, we do not have an authorised biography. Even the one that most people, think is going to be most accurate, being the Omid and Carolyn Durand book, Finding Freedom. Even that, we don't actually know if it's true or not. I mean, I made a video a few weeks ago now saying, look, I think what fans actually want right now is some clarity on not necessarily who the sources are, but just clarity that the sources are reliable and that they can be trusted. Because at the moment, we have at least 3 different books that I know about coming out. I think we've got one in November. I think we've got one tomorrow. Lady C's book, I think, is out on the 25th of June. And we have another new one, Robert Lacey, Battle of Brothers. I mean, there are so many books coming out, and if you're probably like me, we don't know which one to actually trust. Obviously, a biography is written about somebody. An autobiography is when you write it about yourself, or you can also have authorised biographies. So I think I am pretty much at the point now where the only real book that I really want to read is one that actually comes from Harry and Meghan themselves. I would actually like a proper autobiography, one that they have actually written that no one's going to have any disputes over, because we're going to have certain people, certain factions choosing to believe whichever book suits the narrative of which they most affiliate themselves with when it comes to Harry and Meghan. And we know that different people have these different affiliations and believe and even promote their own narratives and their own beliefs. Many people post their opinion as fact, and just because you have an opinion, we're all entitled to our opinions, it doesn't make something fact. We have the likes of the anti-Meghan and Harry YouTube channels pushing out their narrative. It's everywhere. It's a pandemic of its own. And yeah, let me just go and read a little bit of comments. But please tell me I'm not alone in that. There's just too much. There's too much book and gossip coming out, because really, without any actual factual information, that's all it amounts to, is just gossip. Alicia, we're going to get to that story a little bit later. Reverend Darling says, aren't we supposed to be in green if you're a member? Yes, if you are a channel member on YouTube, your name should show up in green. Patreon is different to YouTube channel members. So if you're a member of my Patreon, thank you so much for supporting, but that doesn't make you a channel member on YouTube. They are completely separate things, entities. Alicia says, oh no, I found out that a lot of people are buying Lady C's book. We'll get to that in a moment, because I'm going to talk about the Philip Schofield interview which she did. We'll get to that. Yes, money. Money talks. That is what is going on right now. Crossing the Rubicon says, I've never seen people so obsessed with a woman they don't know, never met or talked to, but have passed judgment on her regard. Either way, yeah, people have passed judgment on both sides of the coin. Kaneta says, have I missed anything? We're going to be catching up. Stan says Lady C is a huge gossip. Alicia says Harry and Meghan better get extra security if they write a book. Well, of course, let's just put out there the scenario of Harry and Meghan writing a book. Now, they have obviously already agreed with the royal family that they will respect the values and wishes and standards of the monarchy. Make of that what you will. Again, we do not know what was discussed at the #Sandringham Summit behind closed doors, so we're just going on what we know. Prince Harry did say that he was going to, going forward, respect the values and standards. So in a book that Harry and Meghan potentially could put out there themselves, I don't think it would be kind of, slandering Harry's own family. I think it would be very much, it would probably touch upon how they may have felt restrained, how they may have felt certain factions had picked on them. It may bullied them, racial abuse. It may well pick up on all those different things, but I don't think there would be anything that would... Oh, it may even include, that they were dissatisfied with the actual royal system, because we know that Harry and Meghan wanted to perhaps, change the royal rota system up to make everything a little bit more fair. So in a book that they could put out, it could include all those different things, but I don't think we would see anything that they put out that would, go against Harry's own family. Because let's not forget, whatever anybody thinks of them, the royal family are still Harry's family. Just as much as, Meghan has her, own family, and that will never change. You can't choose your biological families. Who is Archie suing? Like I said, we will get to that. Let's just go all the way down to the bottom. Right, okay. So I'm going to move on to talking about these different books. So we have the Lady C book coming out on the 25th of June. That is tomorrow, I do believe. So yeah, if anyone has pre-ordered that will be dropping on your doormats probably tomorrow, or at the very latest the next day. So the reason why we're talking about the Lady C book, we've known it's been coming out for quite a while, and also we know from Lady C's YouTube videos what the thrust of her book is likely to contain. We've also, heard different, things about what it's going to contain. So she did kind of like a promotional interview on This Morning with Philip and Holly. And right from the outset, you could tell that Philip and Holly were... They had the opinion that Lady C was a gossip. I've written down certain things. And, she went on at great length about why, she wasn't a gossip, how, all good biographies are written, without the consent of the people, the subject of the book, and that you speak to people around them. Now, of course, we know that a good biography, an unbiased biography, doesn't necessarily include the narrative of the person that you're writing about. We know that. But what we don't know, of course, about Lady C's book, about Omid Scobie's book and Carolyn Durand, and about the Robert Lacey book and the Sean Smith book, what we don't know is who these sources are. And this is the real crux of it with all of these books. We don't know who they are. All of these authors have said that they've spoken to people close to and around, or people that have worked with, or, royal insiders, but we don't know. Basically, some of the stuff that's come out of Lady Colin Campbell's book about, what did she say? It was something about one of the kind of leaks from the book was that Meghan has been treated far better than any other royal bride coming into the royal family, because she was allowed to do this and this and this pre-marriage. Now, that is something that is no secret. That's quite common knowledge. Meghan was allowed to do and go places within the royal family actually before marriage. that was, unheard of. Most royal brides have had to wait until they're actually married before they go on certain tours and engagements or visit Windsor or Sandringham or whatever it might be. Meghan did get a lot of these things. A lot of these things came to her, quite early on when they were still engaged, which was a little bit of a revelation. I've spoke about that on this channel. It's no secret. So Lady C, it seems, is kind of picking over things that we already know and then maybe putting her own narrative onto it. She also spoke, well, quite. I mean, she seems fairly sure and convinced. Although, like I say, I cannot verify or quantify the sources of what she's referring to. But she has said that close friends has revealed that Meghan has the ambition of going into politics and becoming president of the United States. Now, again, we have to be very, very careful with what we choose to believe. Because, again, we don't know what the sources are. But Lady C is pretty much, she is confident in what she is saying. But, again, we don't know. So we're at that point where it's like, I don't know, I don't know who to believe, what to trust, who are these people? Is it just that these people are literally just making things up? It really could be just that case. I mean, also, she spoke to Philip and Holly about Archie, and she said that in America, it's a tax avoidance scheme. All of these rich people, celebrities, business people have all these foundations, and that technically, on a legal technicality, 95% can go to the people who set it up, i.e. the people who own the foundation, and only 5% raised has to go legally to good causes. Now, again, what Lady C is doing is basically saying, oh, Harry and Meghan are just in this for money. They've only left the royal family to make money. The charitable foundation is only going to make money for themselves. Only 5% will go to charity. And again, on a legal point of view, she might be correct. 95% might be, 5% might be that legal limit that has to go to charity. However, she might be right. Many people probably do choose to do that to avoid tax. However, what she does not know is what Harry and Meghan's intentions are. And I think with the great amount of scrutiny that Harry and Meghan, attract, I think the media would pretty much find out if Harry and Meghan were doing the tax avoidance route. I think that would pretty much come to light fairly quickly. So I don't think that Harry and Meghan will be trying to avoid tax or trying to make money off the back of Archie. I think that is a complete fabrication. I think we would find out about it if that was the case. So yeah, I think what Lady Colin Campbell with her book is doing is, like what most narratives do, they base something on a little grain of truth and then they kind of spin a little bit of a web of their own narrative. So that's how the Lady Colin Campbell interview went down. Let me know in the comment section if you saw that interview. The interview is available on This Morning YouTube channel. So that's how I watched it. I didn't watch it live. So go and take a look at that video and see what you think about that. Also, we have a new book, Robert Lacey, Battle of Brothers. And I've just got that open in front of me now on Amazon. So, Battle of the Brothers, William and Harry, the friendship and the feuds. So obviously this book is taking a look at Harry and William's relationship throughout this whole time. I mean, again, we do not know, the sources involved in all of this. Is it going to be just another rehash of stories that have already made the press, which are unquantified? I have no idea. When's Battle of Brothers out? That is out on the 15th of October. So we've got that one coming out. We also have the Sean Smith book, which is Meghan Misunderstood by Sean Smith, coming out on the 12th of November. And this obviously is a book charting Meghan's, I think it even starts with Meghan's childhood, and, you know, this book seems a lot more positive towards Meghan. But again, we do not know who he's spoken to, what sources were involved. So yeah, another new book coming out. I'm going to go and read a few comments and see what people are saying. Rosemary says, no one knows for sure what is in the book, so cannot judge. No, that is most definitely true. We do not know what is in there. Valerie says, I can't believe you're even talking about her and her book. I think you have to listen to what I am saying about her and her book before we completely say that she's an off-topic conversation. Velva says, how does the charitable foundation work in the UK? I think there is something similar. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't looked into it. But of course, there were some talk about some of what Prince Andrew was doing with some of his charitable causes, and apparently someone did some research and he was creaming off a little bit of the money raised for himself as a personal income. I forget the ins and outs and the details of it, but there was talk about that, and again, I haven't seen financial reports to be able to say whether that was true or not, but there was talk about it. So yeah, in the UK, I do think some rich people do use charitable foundations and fundraising to, you know, offset against tax. But in terms of comparing it to the USA, I don't know the percentages, but you know, Lady Colin Campbell is saying that 5% is in the US is what has to go to charity as a legal minimum. The rest can go, if the owners choose, back to themselves with different kind of tax things going on. I am not an accountant, so I wouldn't know all the ins and outs. Yeah, I'm just scanning up the comments. Right, I'm going to go now to Omid Scobie. Again, back to the ins and outs of all these different books and things that are going on. So, there was a story basically saying that Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durant had to redraft their book, Finding Freedom. And I thought about this at the time when I read the whole article, and I was like, well, the only reason why there would have to be maybe a redraft is if they wanted to keep the book really, really current. So, for example, if they wanted to include Meghan's response to Black Lives Matter, the movement that's going on all around the world right now, they would have to update the book. But it wouldn't be a redraft. It would be an update. It would just be an add-on. And that's not to say, of course, that the book hasn't already gone into print. Of course, the Finding Freedom book is out in August. So it may even have been too late to add a bit to the book, yet alone an actual redraft of the book. So that's what I thought at the time. But then on June the 21st, Omid Scobie retweeted, well, he's been retweeting a tweet every time a bit of information has come out about his upcoming book. So he said, lots of laughter at having to retweet this every week. Also, just to add, reports suggesting that the book is being redrafted are categorically false. The manuscript was signed off before the announcement. So even when I was thinking, oh, well, you know, maybe too late for a redraft, he's categorically said that it was signed off before the announcement. So any talk of a redraft is completely false. However, I do still stand by my thought that maybe there could be an add-on. So, you know, who knows? Who knows? We will not know until we actually get the book. So he retweeted the tweet, any insider claiming to know what's in the book is simply throwing guesses out there. And I agree, because we do not know what is in the book, the contents of the book, until it is actually out. Also, he tweeted a picture of him audio recording the narration to the book. So there will be an audio version, and at least part of it is narrated by Omid. We don't know, of course, whether Carolyn is also going to narrate any parts that she has written, or whether they're just doing half each, or whether it's just Omid. I don't know. So yeah, there will be an audio version available, I imagine, on all the typical audiobook download streams. Alicia says, Lady C is the biggest social climber. She tricked a man with a title to marry her just so she could have a title too, and she profits off that. How did she even get that castle? Well, Lady C went into the jungle. She went into the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I don't know, 5 years ago maybe, which is a program that I watched. So I did watch that year, that season, when she was in the jungle. And in that season, she came across as, you know, still the kind of haughty type woman, but people actually quite liked her when she was in the jungle. She was very different. She was very outspoken, as we can see. But back then, you know, she came across as being quite genuine. She came across as having a very authentic story. You know, there was all the issues with gender, which of course she experienced in her early life. So, off the back of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, she did lots of work in the media and all the rest of it. And also, you know, she got into I'm a Celebrity, of course, because she wrote the infamous Diana book back in the day, which of course she fell out spectacularly with Diana over. And of course, you know, she was seen as taking the sides of Prince Charles. So, she used the money from the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and obviously any money that she made post I'm a Celebrity, with magazine deals and all the rest of it, and also an increase in book sales, to purchase a castle. And she bought the castle at a knockdown price because it needed a lot of extensive renovation. She also made money renovating the castle by documenting it for a TV documentary, which again, I watched because I like anything, you know, property developing, that kind of thing. So there was a series where Lady C was doing up this big castle, which she then later turned into a wedding and events venue so it could pay for itself. So the reason, to answer your question, why she's got a castle, is because she's used media money off the back of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and of course, you know, her previous writings that she has put out there in book form, and she renovated the castle, got a TV deal out of that, and then obviously she's renting the castle out as somewhere for people to get married, and events and that kind of thing. So I hope I've answered your question about how she managed to get the castle. Right, let's go down a little bit more. Sussex Squad Jackie says, come on, I think we all know who to believe, and that's only Meghan and Harry. I did say that at the very top of this video. I said, the only people really that I want to get a book from now is Harry and Meghan themselves, because no one knows who to trust, what to trust. There's so much out there now. So yeah, I completely agree with you. In fact, I said that at the very start of this video. Velva says, so is her book about Harry a plot to offend Diana's baby boy because she and his mother had a fallout? I do not know. You would have to ask Lady Colin Campbell that herself. She's the only one who knows that, the answer to that question. Reverend Darlene says, interesting, is a type 1 or 2, she can't sell it. Oh, I'm not sure. It's Goring Castle. I know the name of it. Let me just... I can find out really quickly. Hold a second. I will check whether or not it is... yeah, Castle Goring, I think it is. Yeah, it's Castle Goring. I'm just trying to see if it says it was built in 1929. Yeah, it's currently owned by Lady Colin Campbell. This is the one. It's in Sussex, by the way, if those of you who didn't know. I think it does have some kind of restrictions because in the documentary series she did about it, she had lots of planning issues because she wanted to replace the big dome that's in the middle of this castle with like perspex, literally just to get it done on the cheap. Because all the glass was broken, and the planning people said, no, you can't, you've got to restore it, which is going to cost hundreds of thousands. I think it's going to cost, I think the estimate was like, several $100,000 to replace the glass in this dome, this kind of dome above the castle. So I don't know if she managed to get around that in the meantime. I have no idea. No, I can't see anything. I'm scanning about it. Oh, hang on. Okay, by the start of Castle Goring was decaying. Historic England described Castle Goring as being of priority category A. Its highest priority in defining it as at immediate risk of further rapid deterioration or loss of fabric. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how. Yeah, 2013 she bought it. Yeah, and she couldn't afford to replace the roof. That is what I remember. My goodness, that was all those years ago, Christ. But yeah, so it's a bit of a money pit, and I still believe she's still, working on it. But the most part, it is hired out for venues. Goring, yes, Castle Goring. I'll type it. It has a website, and you can do like a virtual walkthrough as well. Right, okay, let's move on from that one. So the next story I've got on my list is about Archie. So, Louise Byrne of Extra.ie has revealed that Harry and Meghan are via Archie suing a photo agency which happens to be Splash News for breaching his privacy. Obviously, Archie, who is still only 1 year old, is taking legal action against a Los Angeles-based photo agency called Splash News. The case is being taken through the UK High Court and was lodged by firm Shillings, which is a legal company here in the UK, who often works with the royal family. The case was brought by Master Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor and the Duchess of Sussex, HRH. In the legal papers, Meghan is described as Archie's litigation friend. This is due to the fact that he is a minor. So obviously brought by Meghan on behalf of Harry, on behalf of Archie. The case was lodged with the courts on March the 25th. This was just a number of days before the Duke and Duchess officially ceased their roles as senior members of the royal family at the end of March. The royals are suing the photo agency after they took photographs of Meghan Markle, obviously the Duchess of Sussex it should be, walking through a park on Vancouver Island in Canada last January. So I'm thinking that was obviously the photos with Archie when she was walking, and obviously Harry and Meghan issued that warning to the press not to take paparazzi photographs. Yeah, she was holding Archie in a sling, and Archie was shielded from the camera. He was wrapped in winter clothes and had his back to the lens. Well, we know all of that. Splash have said that they will defend themselves vigorously against the lawsuit. And there we go. That is the news. So papers have been filed here in the UK and under Archie's name with the Duchess of Sussex as his litigation friend. Kathy would like a cottage in the UK. Ooh, come over. But yeah, no, in terms of places where to go, I would say maybe definitely look outside of London. There are no nice quaint cottages. But yeah, the south of England is really nice. Where the Queen is at Sandringham in Norfolk, that's really lovely too. Kathy says, I think it's lovely that the UK makes sure that these buildings aren't renovated in a way that does not keep with the history. That is true, but it also is slightly counterproductive because unless somebody has really, really deep pockets to be able to finance all of this, just because a building is classed as at risk or impending of falling down, impending risk of falling down, unless someone's actually got the money to rebuild it, then if it's left, they do just fall down. I mean, literally, they aren't protected in terms of if someone hasn't got the money to come in and fix them and save them, they will fall down. But if somebody buys one, a listed building or one that's at risk of falling down, they make you do it properly. So it's either one or the other. It's either, someone owns it and it gets done properly, or they do literally fall to rack and ruin. Even if somebody owns one of these properties and they can save it, but it's done on the cheap. Well, no. They will say, well, we'd rather you not do the work, and they'd rather the building would actually fall down. So it's good and it's bad in that kind of way. Sussex Squad, Jackie says, Archwell is a non-profit. That means no profit. Not 95% of their pockets is liable if she prints that. It's liable if she prints that. That's what she has said. That is what she has said. So she is printing that. The book is out tomorrow. Barbara, yes, Lady C did confirm in the interview with Holly and Philip that she has never met Meghan and never talked to them. But she did say she'd spoken to people around them and worked with them. Maddie says there are too many books about Harry and Meghan. How can people believe that media not exploiting them for profit? I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love reading about Harry and Meghan, but it's when we have so many books out where nobody knows what's true and what's not, or what the sources are. The water really gets muddied, basically. Brenda says, ex-husband said she is a monster-crushing snob and a complete fake. He said she's bad news. Right, I'm going to go now because I have covered all of the stories that I wanted to, and we've already been talking for 31 minutes. So, again, thank you so much if you have been supporting beyond watching the videos either on Patreon or, of course, as a channel member here on YouTube. Just a little word about Patreon. So, my Patreon I set up as Royal Reviewer. Now, since setting it up as Royal Reviewer, I now have 3 different channels. I've got Royal Reviewer, I've got Steps of Sussex, and I've got Elliot and Matt's British Life. So, what I want to do for Patreon is to change the wording of it slightly so that it kind of incorporates and encompasses all of my different channels. So, I will be doing that very soon. Maria says, do I condone her book? To be honest, I don't necessarily condone any of the books that are out, because all of the books have their own narrative, and to be perfectly honest, the only narrative that I actually want right now is the truth, and I'm having a really hard time trying to decipher which book is actually, if any, is the truth. The only real book that I would condone is, or rather, applaud or welcome, is actually one from Harry and Meghan themselves. So no, I wouldn't say that I condone any of the books. All I want is a truthful book. And like I said weeks ago with Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durran, that seems like the most likely to be, out of all of them, to have, have some kind of element of truth to it. But I would like clarification from Omid and Carolyn about how reliable their sources are. Or what I said at the time was, even if they just said that Harry and Meghan were aware that they were speaking to the people around them, that would be enough for me to kind of think, well, maybe that one's got the most truth in it. So there we go. Maria said the same here. I think most of us just want the truth. And at the moment, it's like wading through high water. We don't know. And when all these books are out, there's going to be so many different stories, and people will choose to believe what they want to believe. The water will be muddied. Right. Okay, I am going to go now. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and also hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, of course, please remember to subscribe to this channel. So from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all and goodbye.